to release in February, but its announcement is on January 14. And I went through the specs, I went through the price, and I went through what this phone has to offer for us consumers. And actually, I was not planning to make this video, but I thought by looking at this video, you can know, of course. But I had to make this because I have to talk about some important things in S21 series and which S21 phone you can buy, or should you skip these all three lineup. Obviously, there are three phones in S21 series, which is S21, S21 Plus, and S21 Ultra. Now, if you're looking for a quick, easy answer, I would say you don't buy S21 Ultra, but if you can, think about buying S21 because there is a lot of things common in both phones at very different prices. So, an S21 Plus, stick around for that in the video. I'll be talking about that. And I'll be comparing these three phones with the specs that I have, and it's about to be interesting. So let's get started. So now, talking about all three phones. Now, all three phones are going to be announced in January 14, which is today. And it's my first time making a video at one day and editing and posting at the same day, so wish me luck in editing, that's that. But it's a really less majority difference, but there is a lot of price hike. So why is that? Let's find it out. Now, firstly, S21. Now, S21 is expected to release in February, whereas S21 Plus is also expected to release in February, but S21 Ultra is expected to release a bit late than their sister or brother phones because Ultra has to be something special, so that's that. And if I look at the dimensions and if I look at the weight, S21 is said to be 171 grams, and 171 grams is a pretty light phone because there has been a lot of phones with 198 or above 200, which has been normalized nowadays, so it's a really good weight. S21 Plus is going to have 202 grams, which is average but not the bulkiest and not the heaviest. And these all phones will have stylus support. Yes, it will have stylus support, so that's something good. Now, let's get more deep into this. So, as we know that there has been a lot about plastic phones in Samsung's lesser lineup to appeal for more higher lineups. So, this is the same case because S21 and S21 Plus is bound to have plastic bodies, whereas S21 Ultra is bound to have a glass back, a Gorilla Glass Victus back, if I have to be exact. Now, S21 has done something really bad here because, first of all, they made a premium lineup plastic. Now, plastic, I have no problem with that because a lot of phones made by plastic has a bit less weight and is not bad as a glass because it has less risk of shattering or breaking, and the repair costs will be very less if you accidentally throw the phone or something like that. But that's that. Another thing is that S21 is not gonna have micro SD card, and S21 Plus will also not have micro SD card, but surprisingly S21 Ultra is bound to have SD card slot. So that's something that Samsung should have not done, but they did, so that's a pretty bad thing. Now, going on to other small details, IP68 is found in all, Samsung Pay is there, NFC is there, and all the simple things. Now, the biggest thing in all three phones is its display. So, S21 is said to have 6.2-inch dynamic 2x AMOLED display. Now, Samsung is known to make their displays really good, and I believe the display is going to be better than last time, but not a huge improvement. But the thing is, you get the same display in all three phones. You're gonna have 6.7-inch dynamic 2x AMOLED display in S21 Plus, and a 6.8-inch display in S21 Ultra with 120 Hz, of course, and HDR10 Plus certification. But the display in S21 Ultra will be a bit different because it has higher peak brightness level, and I think it has higher PPI, screen pixel per inch. But yes, it's gonna have higher pixel per inch, and S21 will have 421, S21 Plus will have 394, and S21 Ultra will have 516 ppi. So that's that, and the ppi ratio is not bad. I think it's pretty good for even a flagship level. Now another thing is they will have all the features of always on display such as like that, so that's very good. And it's this phone is going to be debuted for Android 11 along with 3.1 or One UI 3.1. Now I personally use a Samsung phone, and firstly their display is really good, and their One UI is getting better every generation. So I personally have not tried One UI 3.1, but I think it's going to be better than the last One UI, even though last One UI was better than most of other Android skins. So I'm happy with that. Now the next most asked question about this phone is the Exynos 2100. Now I thoroughly researched on Exynos 2100 because let's face it, many countries, or even if you are thinking to buy, you will have Exynos variant, because Snapdragon variant is very hard to find because you have to import it from US, China or Korea. Now if you can import, that's really good, go for that one. But I think the Exynos is also very good in this phone, because Exynos 2100, as I saw, is, as Samsung claims, 40 times better than last year's chip. Now why is that? Is because this year they have octa-core, it's the same, but they have improved a lot of cortex in the octa-core part of the GPU and CPU. And as seeing on Samsung's video, I think Exynos 2100 is going to be really good. Now they have released Exynos 1080 that will be coming up in future, so we'll have to wait for that. But now I can say that Snapdragon 888 and Exynos 2100 will not be a much of a difference like last year's 20% huge difference between Snapdragon and Exynos variant. And I'm pretty confident now because Exynos 2100, as I saw in the video, with its new 3D performance, with its higher, or let's say higher quality chip, or let's say higher quality products in their GPU and CPU, I think the chip is going to be better than last year, and you can expect more than before. And heating issues, asked by many, Exynos is bound to have heating issues even if it's 1000 times better than any other chip. And Snapdragon 888, as we saw in Mi11, has an absolutely blasting performance. So both chips are really good, but I think is an overkill if you buy any or get any one of that. So that's that. Now let's get into another section, which is, now this is an interesting thing. Now Samsung's mini flagship is said to have 512 gigs of RAM. Now 512 gigs of RAM is a lot, but many might not be enough with that too. So that is why they have micro SD card in their flagship lineup too, because those who buy flagship have a lot of work related stuff and they need a lot more memory than any 512 gigs of RAM. So I don't know why they did this, but Samsung removed micro SD card from S21 and S21 Plus, whereas they have micro SD card on S21 Ultra, as I talked about that. But the thing is, their maximum size, or let's say maximum variant, is of 8 to 56 GB. Now 8 GB RAM I think is plenty sufficient, so I'm not gonna bash on that. But 256 gigs. 256 gigs, if you think that's little less, then you might be correct, but for an average user, it's none of a problem. I give you the guarantee for that. If you're an average user, 256 GB will not be any, let's say, insufficient for you. But there are many people who buy Samsung's flagship phone for many purposes, for their work purpose, and I think 256 GB is not enough for that, and they don't enough have 512 GB variant, plus they don't have micro SD card, so that's a sad thing. Now talking about resolution, yes, so this resolution part has been bashed a lot by many people because Samsung has degraded their screen resolution from their previous S20. Now, Samsung has degraded many things here without degrading the price, of course, but S21 and S21 Plus is bound to have a full HD resolution display, whereas S21 Ultra is found to have 1440p display. So the thing is, you will find difference in both of these displays. Of course, a 1440p display is far better than 1080p display, but the thing is, 1080p display is, I think, good for you, good enough for anybody. Now, before you cannot, and the thing is, you can go with full HD and 120 Hz in display in S21 and S21 Plus, whereas even if I have QHD plus display, you can go with full HD plus display and 120 Hz in this S21 Ultra. So I think that kind of balances out, but it's still not good, because any degrade over any next generation product is, I think, bad in my opinion. So that's about your multimedia experience. Now, another is they're all gonna have UFS 3.1 fast storage, so you're gonna have no problem installing and downloading apps. So that's that. And the next thing is camera. Now, you have seen the new design of the camera. It's really interesting, and I think it's a really good way to cover the bump that rises in the camera and the phone's body. But it's kind of different here, because S21 and S21 Plus is bound to have 12 megapixel main sensor. Now, 12 megapixel, very good sensor, not bad sensor. So that's that. 20mm 64 megapixel telephoto camera, which can go to 3 times hybrid zoom and 1.1 times optical zoom. And both of these cameras gonna have face detection autofocus PDAF and optical image stabilization OIS. So that's good in that. And the sensor is fairly large, and it's gonna have, or it's gonna take a lot of light, so night mode is also gonna be very good in this part. And they're gonna have 12 megapixel ultra wide 120 degree 13mm. Now, the 12 megapixel ultra wide 120 degree is same as found in iPhone 11 device, because iPhone 11 also has 12 megapixel 120 degree ultra wide. So think about getting the image of iPhone 11 level. Now, I have done an iPhone 11 review just around 3-4 days ago, so go check it out for those ultra wide shots. But it's going to be 120 degree and 12 megapixel in S21 and S21 Plus, whereas now it's a bit different in S21 Ultra. S21 Ultra is bound to have 100 megapixel camera. Now, you are thinking that 108 megapixel cameras, it's the same, it's not that good, but the thing is, they're putting a second generation 108 megapixel camera. So it's a second generation, so it should be better than the last generation. And it also has PDAF laser autofocus. Now, the laser autofocus is not found in S21 and S21 Plus, whereas it's found in Ultra, so that's something differentiating. And it will have a 10 megapixel periscope telephoto camera, which can go to 10 times optical zoom with face detection autofocus PDAF and optical image stabilization. And it's gonna have a 10mm that, and it's gonna have a 13mm 12 megapixel same ultra wide camera as in the S21 S21 Plus. Now, all's gonna be all can record in 8K 30 FPS. So here it is written that all three variants can record in 8K 30 FPS, but as I saw in Samsung's Exynos 2100 let's say announcement, I saw that all these can record at Exynos 2100 can record at 8K 30 FPS along with 8K 60 FPS and 4K 120 FPS. So it's not written here, but I think it can do that because Samsung's own website has said that it can record up to 8K 60 FPS. So no problem in that. It has very good camera and can click HDR10 plus video and stereo speakers. So stereo sound recording along with stereo speakers. So that's that. Now, selfie camera is also a bit different here. Now, S21 and S21 Plus is about to have a 10 megapixel camera, whereas S21 Ultra is about to have a 40 megapixel camera. Now, the 40 megapixel camera is not any bad camera. It's a very good camera, and the 10 megapixels and another 10 megapixel you might think is very low resolution, But think about Note 20 Ultra last year. The Note 20 Ultra last year also had a 10 megapixel selfie camera, and I think it's the same camera, but it might be wrong. Plus, it has face detection autofocus, so no problem in that. Now, the camera part, S21 Ultra's selfie camera is going to be way better, but the difference, if you are an average user, you won't find much. All can record in 4K 60 FPS, so that's very good. And all three phones will have stereo speakers, but RIP headphone jack, it's not gonna have headphone jack, so that's kind of sad and is tuned by AKG. So, by the way, AKG is a headphone company which has mastered in sound quality, things like that. So that's that. Now, other thing that I found really awkward about the phone is they are still using Bluetooth 5.0 in their flagship lineup. Now, there has been a phones with Bluetooth 5.2 and also rumored of 5.3, but S20 and S21 Plus is gonna have Bluetooth 5.0. That's kind of sad because Bluetooth 5.1 and 5.2 have some different features, such as double earphone connecting to two wireless earbuds, not of same but separate, whereas 5.0 will not have that. So I'm pretty sad that they're using 5.0 instead of 5.1, whereas as expected, S21 Ultra is about to have Bluetooth 5.1. So they will have all the sensors, no infrared. Infrared is found in MI devices only, and it's gonna have USB 3.2 on the go. So USB 3.2 on the go is a higher version of USB 3.0, so charging will be very good. Now all is gonna have ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, so that's really good, and it's gonna have all these basic features such as Bixby and Samsung Dex, Samsung Wireless Desk, so that's that. Now talking about the battery. Now this is the last part in this, or let's say second last part. Last part is the price. So the thing is, S21 is about to have a 4000 milliampere battery. Now 4000 milliampere is not any less battery, but it's not sufficient, I believe. I believe it's really not sufficient. 4000 milliampere battery, at least they should have given a 4500 milliampere battery, because as we know nowadays, we all depend on battery very much, and with these high specs in this phone, a dynamic 2 times AMOLED, 120Hz, HDR10 plus certification display, 8K video recording, and Exynos is bound to take more battery, I think, even if it's 5 nanometer, because it's Exynos, so we can't expect much. But as I said previously, it will be better, I promise you that. But 4000 and plus non-removable, so pretty sad in that. And S21 Plus is about to have a 4800 milliampere battery. It's kind of justified, and it's okay battery life. Sorry for that. It's okay battery life, so that's that. And S21 Ultra is bound to have 5000 milliampere battery. Now I think 5000 milliampere battery will give you around 7 to 8 hours of screen on time. I might be wrong, but that's that. All will still have 25-watt fast charging as last year's, and they will also has fast wireless charging of 15 watt in all three devices, which is same, and USB power delivery 3.0, same as last gen, so no changes in that. And all three phones will have reverse wireless charging of 4.5 watt. So now here we have come to the interesting thing, the price. Now the color choice I think is really good this year, because I really love the colors, as you have seen in the thumbnail also. I kept a purplish color, I think that's really good. It's called Phantom Violet, so that's cool. But Ultra is about to have only two color variants, whereas 21 and 21 Plus is about to have three color variants. So sorry, and S21 is about to have four color variants, whereas S21 Plus is bound to have three, and S21 Ultra is bound to have two. So that's that. Now we have come to the end of this video, and there is some interesting thing I would like to say. Now three of these phones are very vastly priced. The S21 is priced at 850 euros, or around 900 $850. S21 Plus is $1050, sorry, 1050 euros, around 1100 or $1050 also. And S21 Ultra is priced at a whooping 1,400 euros, which is around $1,500 or $1,450. So now, as I said in the first part of the video, S21 Ultra is not worth it. You can get you can get faster laptops in $1,400 than this phone. I recommend you not to buy S21 Ultra. Never, but if you have extra money lying around and if you want to spend it, I don't know what you can do about that. But S21 Ultra, don't buy it. S21 Plus, now S21 Plus is as same as S21 with minute difference that you will never notice. Minute difference. Of course, the screen size is big, so that's one thing. But others, everything is same. The camera, the battery performance is gonna be kind of similar, but S21 Plus will have better because of his 1,800 milliampere battery than the 4,000 milliampere battery. So that's one thing. And actually, if I have to say, S21 is kind of a good phone for the price that you're getting. Of course, the plastic back, if you can leave that aside, you can get a very good phone at 850 euros or around $900, or for Indian, I think it's gonna be around or 70, 60,000 maybe. And in Nepal, it's gonna be around 1 lakh 10,000, 1 lakh 15,000, or 1 lakh 5,000, around that corner. And of course, if you're in Nepal, I highly suggest you to not buy any of these phones. But if you're in other countries such as USA or any countries in Europe, I think you should go for S21 because S21 is really good and S21 Ultra is not worth it. Just leave it out of the box. It's gonna go for only reviewers or someone who's gonna review it. And S21 Plus still not worth it, but S21, I think it's a good phone. Now, that's my analysis, but anything can be different because I have not tried the phone. But for now, I'll be telling you S21 is going to sell a lot more than S21 Ultra, and S21 Plus is going to be kind of a middle ground, but I think not much people are going to buy that. So that is it for the video, and I was not intending to make this video, but here is it. I think this is kind of an okay setup than my previous setup. Now I'm at my hall, or let's say living room, so let's leave that. And if you enjoyed the video, a sub to the channel would be very lovely. And if you like the content, like to the channel, this is me, Microtech, signing out. Love animals, peace out.